I'm not going to lie to you guys, I did a lot of crazy stuff when I was younger, and this episode probably explains some of the craziest stuff I did, because I feel like you wouldn't expect it from someone who was at medical school. But alas, I had some kind of party issues. I just had to get all the partying out of my system. And I don't know, maybe I wanted to run away from my problems at home. I don't know what it was, but I basically didn't want to spend my time in England, like, in the rain. So, after my brief 1-week holiday in Magaluf in 2013, at the ripe old age of 18, living the life, seeing all the party goers and the people who worked there, just living the dream apparently, I decided that I wanted to try it. I wasn't done with partying and I needed to go back. And I wanted, basically, you need a summer job when you're at uni. And I was like, I don't want to work in the UK doing boring shit. So what did I choose to do? I chose to go and get drunk every day and went out to foreign lands for 3 months. So today I describe my experiences as a professional party animal, because that's basically what I was. Not only am I going to talk about the good stuff, right? The going, being able to go to the beach whenever you want, etc. But there was a lot of bad stuff, and there's a reason I only did 2 of these excursions, and I think I probably left with more bad things than good, to be honest. So we're going to talk through the history of how it happened and what the situation was like, and then we're going to get onto the bad stuff a little bit later. I don't want to say this is just my experience, right? Because some people might really like it. It's not that I didn't like it, because I did go back and do it again. And you might think, well, if you hated it that much, why did you go back and do it again? Yeah, I get you. But I didn't not like it. But I think by the second one, I was like, nah, I'm done now. So, I caught the bug. No, not chlamydia. I caught the partying bug. That was my issue. I partied a lot from the age of 18 to ongoing. In fact, I've never had chlamydia. That is a fun fact of me. I also have a weird thought for today. So if you guys have been missing my weird thoughts, which I'm sure you have, I'm really sure that you have, I'm sure that you've been holding on to the edge of your seat like, when is Dawn going to do another weird thought section? So one's coming up today, and I find it pretty weird, but I think the weirdest kind of things are the things that we don't think about but are there. They're just there, and then nobody ever thinks about them because they're there. And then when you actually think about it, for example, pregnancy, I've done a weird thought on that. Pregnancy is very weird, but you don't think about it because it's natural and normal and part of human life, and, passing on your genes and the reproductive cycle. But it's like, no, it's fucking weird. It's a parasite. Well, a wanted parasite, but alas, it is still a parasite that is desired, and it comes out of you. Anyway, I've done that weird thought before. I can't remember in what episode, I'm sorry. So if you want to go listen to that one, then you'll really have to listen to all of them. I'm sorry. I couldn't even fathom as to which one it's in, because there is no indication. Oh, I guess I could look through. But anyway, I'll leave that one up to you little crazy people. So, what is it like to work a season in a party location, or 2? Now, let's start off with saying what is a season, because for me, being at medical school, I was not able to do the full season, which most veterans of this party season sport would say that you did not do a full season if you only did 3 months. Now, being a student who had to go back to uni and who didn't finish until June or July, I wasn't able to go out in April when all these hardcore people were going out. Also, I don't know if I'd want to go there for 6 months. But anyway, these people go out in April and they leave in September. Is that 6 months? I don't know. It's around then. Or maybe October. Anyway, they're there for ages. It's half their life. And they are like, you haven't done a season unless you have been here for 6 months. You've been here since April. And it's like, well, sorry, I've got a fucking life. I can't help it. I'm getting an education. This isn't my life, just coming out and drinking every day and fucking bitches. No, I'm trying to get an education and be a doctor. I have to admit, I think I was the only person there who was studying to be a doctor. Maybe there was another girl there who was at uni, but I can't remember what she did. But alas, I'm pretty sure if she was doing medicine, I think I would remember. But alas, I was basically, as far as I know, the only person out doing these stupid, crazy acts of nonsense. So I could only do 3 months. I would say I did a season, but some people might not see that as a season. Whatever, it's all semantics. I literally don't care. I did 3 months in Malia in 2014, and in 2015 I did 3 months in Ayia Napa. Malia is in Crete, it's one of the islands off of Greece, and Ayia Napa is a town in Cyprus, which is also an island near to Greece/Turkey. It's like there's a Cypriot side and there's a Turkish side. So I was on the Cypriot side. So basically, most party islands are in Spain or like around Greece, so like in the Mediterranean. I've only ever been to Malia and Ayia Napa. I've never done like Ibiza or Malaga, I think is one, or what's it called? Zakynthos? Oh fuck, I've forgotten. I've completely butchered that. I'm sure you know what I mean. Kavos is another one. Sunny Beach, that one's in Bulgaria though. And those are the only ones I can think of at the moment. I think there's Benidorm, but I think that's more for like older people. I don't really know. I've never been there. But these are like the classic, I've just finished my A-levels, I'm going to go and get shit-faced. Like those are the classic ones. Kavos, Malia, Magaluf. Ibiza's probably for a bit more of an older crowd. What is it? You know what I mean, right? When I'm trying to say it. Zakynthos. I don't know. That's kind of embarrassing. But that one, also a Greek island. So why there? Well, that's where all the people go. And that they are like known for their partying. So if you want to go and let loose and be like a party animal, you're not gonna like chance it in Stockholm. No, you're gonna go to where you know everyone wants to go and get fucked and shag people. Like that is why people go there. Just to let loose. They're on a stag do or like, and there's kind of no rules there. Okay, I was gonna do my Magaluf one, like just tell my story, but I feel like I didn't work there, but I feel like we'll leave that for another one. That was a holiday. That was a full-on hollybob, and that was crazy. I would say out of all of them I've been to, maybe because I was a tourist in that one, it was crazier. Magaluf was like probably the craziest one I've been to. I would say the other two, although crazy, like although there's a lot of stuff going on, not as like sexual. I mean, when I say crazy, I mean like people are having sex everywhere in Magaluf. Like the beach, the nightclub, like in the bubbles in the fucking foam party, like anywhere you can think of, on the sofa in the bar, like people are having sex. Or there was that video of that girl that sucks off like 14 boys, like that was in Magaluf. And I would say the craziest stuff that I saw in the other two places was definitely not as crazy as that. So if you're looking for crazy, I mean, I've never been to Kavos and I've never been to the other place. I think they are equally as crazy, but I don't know. My boyfriend at the time that I went to Malia, so I went and we were apart for the first week, and then, or maybe 2, I think it was a week, and then he came out to come and meet me. Oh my god, I was such a fucking little bitch when I was younger, because how long had we been together? It must have been about a year, but it was like really hard to not be with him. And I remember, I'm going to talk to you about the first night, because that was one of the worst nights of my life. Great start. And yeah, I just remember it being like really hard. But what I want to say is he was in Sunny Beach when I was in Malia. Like, that is the age we were, 18, 19, like, it's kind of a rite of passage, I feel. The things that I've heard about Sunny Beach, just to say from his perspective, is him and his friend got mugged, and that had never happened in any of the other places that I've been to, the other 3. And apparently, I don't know, but there are like a lot of gypsies in Sunny Beach. So that's all I know. That's what I'm going to tell you, because that's all I know. Anyway, let's start with Malia. Malia 2014. Do you know how I know it was 2014? Because the other day I revived my Twitter account. If you want to go check it out, it's kind of embarrassing. But I've started to like post a few things. I can't call it Twitter now. I'm not calling it X. My X account. What? It sounds like a pornography site, app, whatever. Why would you change it? You weird man. Like, why? Elon? Why would you change it to X? Like, what was the point? Anyway, Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. I revived my Twitter account and my bio. Oh my God, my dog's just farted and it really smells. Wow. She's like probably 2 meters away from me as well. So she's not close, but that was a real wafter. Wow. The only reason I know is because I edited my Twitter bio, which said, and I quote, well, yeah, it's not that like crazy. I am quoting it. Malia 2014. Yes, I wrote that in my Twitter bio. So that's how I knew that I went to Malia in 2014. And I went to Ayia Napa in 2015 because I literally went the year after. So that I'm making assumptions here. I didn't check, but that was what my Twitter said, so it must be true. Going out there is quite an easy process. It's a little bit scary if you've never done it before because you message these rogue people on Facebook, send them money. They say that they're going to like put you in a room. You don't fucking know. You book a flight and then you just sort of arrive. You don't have a job and you just arrive and you're just hoping that it's not a scam because otherwise then you've got nowhere to stay. So I arrived and I was put into this place which didn't have a great name. It was called Travellers. Why? I don't know. It was basically, it looked like it used to be a bar, but it was like disused and it honestly looked like a prison. It just looked awful. It was so bad. Malia is one long strip with like an extra fork off to the side, and that is it. It's quite small. But when you're drunk, it obviously seems a lot bigger. So, but when you know it, because I knew it, obviously, I'd been there like for 3 months, it is actually quite small. But when you're there for 7 days and you're drunk every day and like, I don't think it really matters. Like, actually, it's probably quite nice to have quite a small place. Like, you're not going to go to every bar anyway. And you're close to the beach, you know, it's in walking distance and like, you've got everything you need in one place. Whereas Magaluf, I remember you had to get a taxi to get to some of the bigger clubs, and it was just I don't remember it that well, to be honest. I was drunk most of the time in Magaluf, but I just remember it being a lot bigger. So yeah, I got put into this room in this place called Travellers with this girl who, her name I'll say was Chantel. I don't know, that was just the first name that came to my mind. She was okay, actually. Like, I wouldn't say we wouldn't be friends, like, if we weren't in that situation. Like, I don't think we were similar people. You know, she had a weave. Don't even know what a weave is. And she was very into like makeup, and I was just like, I'm fucking here. Like, I did put makeup on, to be fair, but the other awkward thing is, I'll just mention this whilst I remember, you go out there quite white because, you know, you're in England, you don't tan that much. Then you go out there, you take all your makeup with you, and then you change colour. But your makeup doesn't change colour, so you end up looking like a mime artist by the end, and it's really obvious that you're wearing makeup. And in some of the pictures you can really tell, like, my body is brown, my face is white. It's really quite cringy. I wish I just hadn't worn any makeup. So, yeah, I was probably at when I went to Malia. So we got put in this, basically, let's say the accommodation is nowhere near 5 stars. It is pretty horrendous, but you're paying not much at all. Like, you're paying for pretty horrendous accommodation. But the first place we went to, I can't even remember how much it was. I want to say it was like 50 quid a week, like it wasn't loads. And, you know, you didn't pay bills or anything. But there was no aircon. There was almost no sunlight. There was a window, but we were in like some kind of dungeon ground floor thing, and there was no sunlight coming in whatsoever. It was so dark. And there were 2 beds in there. It was like reasonable size. Like, you don't really spend much time in there anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we obviously had a bed each, and then someone would come and change our linen every so often. Not that often, like once every 2 weeks, I would say, maybe once every week. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, you're not given any, like, there's nowhere to put your clothes, like you just live out of a suitcase essentially. And we did have a bathroom, and I can't remember if we shared it. No, we didn't. We had a toilet and we had a bath, and it was one of those mini baths, you know, like basically not a bath, but you could sit in it if you wanted to. It was green, I remember, like really fugly green, and the whole bathroom was green, and it just made it really dark. Like, I just remember everything being so dark in there. It was like walking into a basement with no windows. And right next door we had a pool that started playing music at like 10 a.m. Bear in mind, these places that you're working till 5, sometimes 6 a.m, and then the music starts at 10 a.m. It is not great. You're like, please shut up. And then the crickets, or whatever they are, some kind of bug that goes ee, makes a noise. There were loads of them next to that. Maybe they were cockroach noises, I don't know. They start making loads of noise in the morning as well. So yeah, it's not a great time. You basically don't really sleep that much. And I don't know how I survived, to be quite honest. I feel like if I tried to do it now, I would actually die. Like, I would have to come back on one of those helicopter rescue things. And it would be like cause of near death, party too hard. Like, 18-year-old me was some kind of supersonic woman. I do not understand it. I don't know. We'll get into that a bit more, but I did some supersonic amazing things. The first day I was there, that sounded like a weird sentence. The first day I was there was awful. I missed my ex-boyfriend so much, like so much. I don't know. I think we'd only gotten together, like, we'd been together like 6 months or something, you know, I was in that phase. And I was on my own. I travelled out there. He was coming out a bit later. So I was on my own for a bit, and that was kind of sad and kind of scary because I travelled there on my own. And I didn't know anybody, obviously. I knew my roommate, Chantel, who thankfully wasn't like a complete bitch. So that was all good. Like, we did get on. And what did she call me? She had a name for me. I want to say it was Dawny or something. Like, it wasn't particularly inventive, but was it Dawny? I feel like it was something more than that. Anyway, we did get on. Like, I can't say we didn't. For two people that had never met, like, she didn't bring any guys back. Like, she didn't put me in any danger. Like, she was pretty good out of all of the people I could have been put with. Pretty good. So thank you if you're watching. We're still friends on Facebook. Oh, she called me Naughty Dawn. That was it. Naughty Dawn. I don't know why. I literally wasn't naughty. I don't think so anyway. But yeah, she called me Naughty Dawn. I honestly can't remember why. So the first night I'm there, worst night ever. I remember feeling so anxious. I don't know why. I think the first night that I got there, remember, I'm 18, 19. I am a shell of a woman. I'm nothing like I am now. I couldn't really stand up for myself. Like, I was terrified. I wasn't like insanely confident. Like, I'm pretty confident, but 18-year-old me was not like bullish and like would say whatever and be able to stand up for herself. And was kind of intimidated by guys. My biggest fear was cheating on my boyfriend at the time, but also like cheating on my boyfriend and not realising that I'd done it. Like, that was my biggest fear. I don't know why. If I feared it that much, then surely it wasn't going to happen. And as far as I know, it didn't happen, right? So I will get into that a bit more later, but let's say the first night there was this guy there. He's like a London guy. I hope he's sorted out his life, but he basically he obviously thought it was banter, right? But I was terrified. Remember, this guy obviously had no like social filter. He didn't understand I was 19. I just arrived in this country. I was missing my boyfriend. I was worried about, like, he obviously wouldn't know any of this, right? But he was, and this kind of shows the kind of clientele that we're dealing with here. The first kind of jokes that he was making were that he was going to drag me down an alley and rape me. And I was like fucking terrified. And later, like, it was just the first day I met him. He obviously, I don't know what he was getting up to. He like wanted to intimidate me or something. But later on, he was like okay. Like he didn't do any of that anymore. Maybe because my boyfriend arrived, but it was terrifying. Imagine arriving in a place that you're already scared and someone says they're going to rape you when you're drunk. So obviously I was shitting myself. I honestly was terrified. That night we went out. Now, going out is quite easy when you're in this place. You literally get ready and then you walk out the door. That is it. And you are in the middle of a party zone. You're on the strip because that is where you live. So it's quite good. Like, if you want to party, you just walk out the door and you're fucking there. Bam. So we walked out the door. We literally walked over the road and there was a bar over the road. Like, that was it. We didn't walk any further. And I remember there just being drinks, or like so many drinks, and they were so cheap. And if they thought you worked there, even though I literally just arrived, but you know, you're like a worker to be, you're like in this weird like clan. They called it a family. I was a very dysfunctional family, if you ask me, and quite incest. But I'm not friends with, spoiler, I'm not friends with anybody from that time. And that's not to say there weren't people that I, you know, got on with, but like, we'll get into that a bit later, but I would not call them my family, and no, not at all whatsoever. But the only person I did like people, but you know, some of the relationships didn't continue after, for some, you know, mainly because of distance. A lot of these people were from the north of England, and I lived very far south in Plymouth, like where nobody lives. So yeah, a lot of these people are from the Midlands or from the north, so I just wouldn't see them. There were some people that were from Plymouth, actually. I have seen them, actually. I saw them in Plymouth, just like out and about, but we never like met up or anything. But they were pretty nice, and we are friends on Facebook, so it must be pretty special. So we go out on our first night. I think I explained this one like in the last episode or episode before. I think I basically talked about the night that I remember nothing, because I just hadn't experienced such a free-flowing booze environment. It was coming at me left, right and centre. I couldn't say no. I'd never experienced free alcohol, just unlimited. So I went crazy. I just drank everything that was given to me. And the people that had been there a bit longer than me were sensible, and they didn't drink everything. So then I drank theirs. Anyway, it's fair to say I remember fucking nothing. I woke up. The next thing I remember is walking down a random road. That is all I remember. And I remember thinking, like, fuck, what happens if that guy raped me? Like, maybe he raped me and I don't remember. And you know when you know you've had sex because you can like feel it? I was like, I don't feel like anything's happened. And I kept like, I was so fucking anxious that like someone had done something to me. Anyway, I walked a bit longer. I collapsed on the beach. Oh no, what? I actually had some cash on me, like €1, and that was it. I walked along this random road. It was like in the middle of nowhere, or at least it felt in the middle of nowhere. But realistically, what I found out a bit later was it was literally, it wasn't that far. It was like maybe, I don't know, 500-600 meters away from the strip, but it felt like the middle of nowhere, because it's like the strip is like so densely populated and packed full of stuff, and then surrounding that, to the right of it anyway, it's just fields and like little villas and huts and graveyards. So I was walking along anyway. That's the first thing I remember. It was just walking. Like I don't remember anything before that. It was like the morning. I don't remember what time, but it was like a horrendous time in the morning, like 8 a.m. or something. I'm walking along, I go in, I get water. I feel like I'm so dehydrated, like I'm gonna die. Thank fucking God I had €1 on me. I literally felt like I was going to die of dehydration. Like I was so dehydrated because I'd just been drinking all night, and then I must have like collapsed somewhere in a Greek like street somewhere. I do not know. I have absolutely no recollection of what happened, and I kind of don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss, it turns out. So I collapsed on the beach, and I don't know how long I was there for. Probably at least an hour, just like asleep on the beach. Random Greek people just walking past me. They think nothing of it. It's a drunk girl on the beach asleep. peri-death, but they don't care. They've seen it all before. If that happened in the UK, if you just walked along and saw like an 18, 19-year-old girl on the floor, you would do something about it, wouldn't you? Anyway, I was left there. So no one was like, do you want a drink? Do you need help? Anyway, by this point, I was like fucking done. I was lost. I did not know where I was going. I was wandering around. Like, I don't know where I'm going. You don't go out with your phone. If I'd even had my phone, I wouldn't have had like data or anything. So you are literally, the Greek people, they speak Greek, and not many of them, especially the ones like as you went out of the strip area, like they don't speak English, like some of the older people that own the shops. And also they'd be like, yeah, it's that way. But they wouldn't be like, it's that way, then it's that way, then it's that way. Also, I was still drunk. I couldn't remember what they'd said. So I was like, okay, I'll keep walking in this direction. Collapsed on the beach, got up eventually, carried on walking just in an unknown direction, got into this like hotel, and I was like, I found this guy. It was like 9 a.m, 10 a.m. or something. I found this guy. I was like, are you English? Like, Perry, like literally just about to cry. He's like, yeah, and then I just start crying. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so lost. I don't know where the strip is. I'm like literally bawling my eyes out, and I was terrified. I was so anxious. I was like, what happened to me? Did I get raped by this guy? Did I get raped whatsoever? Am I going to make it home? What am I going to tell my boyfriend? I don't know. I was freaking out. Anyway, this guy, so lovely. Thanks, guy. I don't remember your name / I do remember slightly what you look like, but if I passed you on the street, no, I wouldn't know. So if I'm talking about you, hi. Very lovely guy. Thankfully, literally walks me to the strip, which really wasn't that far away, but at the time I was honestly like, I was not coping with life. Oh god, it was so bad. It was so bad. That's literally one of the worst nights of my life. I can't even describe how shit I felt. I was so anxious, like my heart was like fucking bouncing against my chest. I was like crying. I was dehydrated. I was so hungover. It was boiling hot. I've been walking around forever. Didn't know where I was. Didn't know if I'd been raped. Like, it was so bad. I can't even describe how bad it was. Like, just imagine all of those things mixed together. But like, oh god. Anyway, I got back. As soon as I got back, there's this guy, and he comes out of our like apartment thing, and he's like, oh, have you got any water? And I was like, yeah, like, so I took him in to my room, gave him some water from the fridge, because you had to have bottled water, and gave him some. And then we walked. I think I'd FaceTimed my boyfriend by that point, or maybe it was a bit later, because I think there was a time difference? I don't remember. Anyway, we walked round to the pool, and everyone thought, because I walked with him and no one had seen me all night, everyone was like, oh, you guys have fucked, haven't you? Like, we, like, it was like that. And I was like, no, he asked me for water, I gave him water, I fully remember this, we did not have sex, thank you, end of story. So yeah, I was just being a nice person, and everyone then made my anxiety even worse, like so much worse. I was like dying inside. Like, now everybody thinks that I have sex with somebody because we come around the corner together, and that was awful. It really was the first night. And then I phoned my boyfriend later, I'm pretty sure it was like in the evening, and I cried so much. I was like, but the thing is, there was no Wi-Fi in your room, so you had to stand outside and FaceTime. So I was crying in the like weird, what used to be a bar area, and it's just like now this empty, dusty place where people leave their mopeds, and I'm like crying in this place. There's no seats or anything, you're like standing up. It really is quite tragic. I'm like crying on FaceTime to him, like, I don't remember what happened, like, I don't know, like, oh god. Anyway, it was so bad. I know I keep saying how bad it was, but it was so awful. And like, for me to say that was the worst night of my life, even to this day, like, I can't, like, I just remember it being so awful, like, fucking shoot me in the head awful. So there we go. My first night in Malia was one of the worst nights of my life. I think it didn't take long for me to get a job, to be honest. The way you go and get a job in these places is very fucking easy. You basically go, walk in into the place you're on a night out, like the one I just mentioned. You're on a night out, and then you're like, you just approach people and say, have you got any jobs going? And then they'll be like, yes or no, or what for. And like, most people don't get a bar job, for example. They usually leave that to the Greek people or the people that live there. They get the bar work, and then you get like trying to get people into the bar, selling people like shots and stuff like that. Some people did ticket sales. That was more of a day job, because you'd be trying to sell tickets to people like at pools and stuff like that. I wasn't really into that, it's a lot of hard work. I kind of wanted the free booze and like to go out every night, basically. So I only got one job in Malia, and I did that the whole time I was there. That's because I earned a lot of money doing it, and I liked it. Like, it was familiar, I liked the music, and I just got paid really well. And the girl that I worked with was also really good at doing it, so we got paired together and we were fucking sick. Like, we were the dream team. And my boss, although he was a cocaine addict, he was actually very nice. Like, I know he was very angry, and he did get arrested at one point, but he did cocaine behind the bar. But he did shout at me once because he thought I was stealing, but I wasn't. But apart from all of that, he was actually quite nice. Like, he gave us free drink tokens when we asked for them. And when I ran out, he would give me more. And they would give us free drinks there, and they would pay us well, and it was just a good deal for both of us, like we sold stuff, and they earned good money because me and this other girl were quite good at it, and they put us together. So basically, the crux of being good at selling stuff as a female in those places is to wear as few clothes as possible and to be very flirty. And that was basically the way to do it. Like, you just have to be really flirty. Like, you don't need to wear no clothes. Like, you can, get away with wearing more clothes, but less probably helped. And being like fairly attractive. I was blonde at the time, and fairly slim, not so much anymore, but like, I had like a good bum, and like, I would say, that helped. And I was very good at flirting. Like, I don't know, the alcohol helped, obviously, but I was just very good at it. So I also work really hard, so I've got good work ethic. Good work ethic. So although I only had one job there, I started working from like a week in. I think I had really wasn't long at all. I actually started working outside, trying to get people in. I did that for one night. I wasn't that good at it. The guy called Dan at the front said, yeah, I mean, you were alright at it for your first time, but like, it wasn't my forte. I didn't feel that comfortable. I didn't want to like be dragging people in, being like, come in, because they actually physically drag people. And I just wasn't like into it. Like, trying to, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. Trying to get people into clubs. So that was not my vibe. I would rather work inside. And the thing is, when it was really busy, the people who were outside and had got people in, they actually got to like sit down and have a break because they'd done their job essentially. Whereas when it was busy for me, it was like selling shots and stuff inside, like that's when it got more busy, our roles were kind of reversed. Like at the beginning, when it was super quiet, they were working really hard and we were kind of just sitting there waiting for people to come in, and then and then the opposite would happen when it got busier. So there were some points where they literally couldn't bring more people in because it was so busy. And we did have one night a week, I think on a Saturday or a Sunday, we had like a pub crawl that would come in, and they would stay for hours and the doors would shut, and they would get so drunk, so drunk. And I just remember like they'd come in like, maybe like a 5 out of 10, and they would leave like 8 or a 9. Like they would be so bad. But I guess that was kind of the the aim of going to these places. And to be honest, because I worked in a club, like I worked in a club that was at the time called Mode Club. I still have one of the t-shirts that we used to wear. And yeah, we got free uniforms. Well, no, yeah, it was free, but you would go to the t-shirt shop and you'd say, I work at Mode or whatever club you worked at, and they'd say, okay, what do you want? And you'd be like, oh, I want these like bum shorts, and which were basically fucking knickers, and like a bra, and I got a top, and you could get like kind of whatever you wanted, and they would charge it to the club. So that was kind of good. Got some memorabilia from that. I've also got a Sigma top, and I did go and see Chris Brown once. So the other thing about working in these places is you do see some famous people. In Ayia Napa, in Malia, I saw, who's that fucking Radio 1 DJ who's like kind of old, whose name I've completely forgotten. It's like Tim something. Wow, I've completely forgotten his name, but he's actually quite famous, and I met him, and I met some people from Gogglebox and from Geordie Shore. I've forgotten his name now, but like Reese or something, was that his name? I want to say. I met him, and that's kind of all I can think of right now. Chris Brown was there. I didn't meet him as such, but yeah, I did meet some famous people, like mildly famous people, you know, famous enough to be like walking around and, you know, not need security. I guess, what was my day like? Right, so you wake up at like 2 p.m, same as I'm doing now. You get up, you probably have a shower. Well, actually, no, I think I showered in the evening. You get up, you wipe off the rest of your makeup because you know it's probably still like half on. You get dressed, and then you go out and you get breakfast. You always have to buy water, like every day almost you're buying like water because you can't drink from the taps. So you're buying like these 6 2-litre bottles. You don't walk anywhere because everyone has a moped, absolutely fucking everyone. They don't cost that much, but when you're working there and like living there, you don't want to walk everywhere, and it's really fucking hot. The hottest it got was like 42, but it's like a nice dry heat. Most of the time you would spend literally every day, you would either go to the swimming pool or you would go to the beach. Those are almost the only 2 things you'd do. Me and my ex had a routine. We would get up like 2 p.m-ish. I don't know how I did it, right? I really don't. 6 hours sleep or whatever. 2 p.m, and then we would go to the gym when it got darkish. So at like, it was probably like 7, 8 o'clock. We might have food. We used to eat where he worked because he would get a discount and the food was quite good. We ate way too much for how much exercise we were doing, which really wasn't that much at all. Sometimes we would go to Lidl, Lidl, or they would have a supermarket. We did try to cook some of our own meals, usually the evening meal, because you don't want to eat out twice a day, you know? It's not only is it expensive, but it can't be good for you. So we did try to cook 1 meal a day, and I'm sorry if you can hear my dog, she's like rolling about on the floor. And so this is our usual day. I actually bought an iPad whilst I was out in Malia because I earned quite a lot of money. So I went and bought an iPad because I wanted to watch Harry Potter. I don't know why, I just had an obsession with it. And I also wanted to read Harry Potter, obsessed. So by the pool I would read Harry Potter, get in and out of the pool every so often because it was obviously hot, and you would put on this horrible like tanning oil, which could not have been good for you, but alas, the damage has been done. Tanning oil every day. It would also have some like bronzing elements in it, so it's not as though it was like all you that was tan, it like kind of tanned you as well. Then we started to go to this beach gym, so that's why we went in the evening to the gym, because it was really hot. So you could only really work out in the evening when the sun was setting, like just before like dusk, basically. How fucking nice is that? Like a gym literally on the beach, which we used for free. We never knew whether we needed to pay for it, but nobody ever asked us, so we just used it. and we used that, and it was great. Like waves, sunset, and the sunset like over there as well, so that was great. And it would we would just do like they basically only had weights there, so, and it was outdoors, not that it ever rained, but like so it was like relatively basic, but it had a squat rack and it had a bench press and pull-up rack and stuff like that, so it was pretty good for like free. Anyway, at one point this guy came and asked us like whether we were paying for it or whatever, and we said no, and then he started to want money from us, and we were like, okay. I don't think we then paid for it. What we did was we actually went to a gym that was a 5-star hotel. They were charging almost the same amount. We were like, why don't we go to this fucking beautiful 5-star resort on the hill? And it was amazing. So we went there rather than paying for our shitty, like, didn't have anything gym. Like, although it was lovely, when it was free, it was fine. But we were like, why would we pay the same amount for literally, like, some weights in a dusty, like, car park when we could have aircon, swimming pool, treadmills, like, everything? So we went, I can't remember what this place was called now, but it was fucking beautiful. It was, like, all the way up this hill. Our moped, when we both sat on it, would not get up the hill. It was that steep with both of us on it. So he would get off and walk, and I would take the moped up. There was, we would go there probably once every 2 days. Like, we didn't work out every day, but it's kind of impressive that we managed to do that, to be honest. I don't know how. And we still did the same in Ayia Napa. Like, it really, we quite liked going to the gym, and also I didn't want to, the problem with drinking every day, eating out every day, is that you get quite fat as a girl, and the guys get really skinny, so you kind of do want to keep some of it. You're never gonna like be the same as you were when you went away, but you don't want to be like, you want to minimize that damage. So yeah, we went to the gym once every couple of days, and this place that we went to, which was on top of the hill, lovely, beautiful, had like an outdoor pool, and we would go to that. And then it had an indoor pool, which was basically empty whenever we went because it would be like dark. And so I basically swam in that on my own, it was beautiful, like a beautiful indoor pool. And I always got really scared though, because it was so quiet in there. And I had quite bad anxiety when I was younger. And I used to think that there were like things swimming after me, so that would really freak me out. So I wouldn't be able to be in there for very long, let's put it that way. But it was really nice, a lovely spa. And yeah, sometimes I would go in and swim and be scared. So yeah, that was super nice. We did go to a couple of, there was a water park we went to called Star Beach. No, there was another water park we went to, and then there was a place called Star Beach. We did like a few day trips, like not many though. I went to the capital, Heraklion, once. I felt horrendous because we got in, you would finish work, you start work at 10, or maybe a bit earlier if you're a bar, and for me on a weekday I would finish at 5 a.m. and on a weekend I would finish at 6, but on a weekend I would go out after. We would go to the only clubs that were open, which was, what was it called? I want to say it was like Jigsaw, but I don't think that was the name, but it began with J. Zigzag, that was it. Zigzag. It was like a house club, house music club, and you would go in there. It would only be full of workers because that was the only, like, one of two places. I think Apollo was open and Zigzag, and that was it. So we went to Zigzag, and yeah, basically went there until it shut, which was at like 7, and then after that you would go to, I honestly don't know how I did this, it's fucking insane. After at 7 a.m. you would go to this place which was open till 8, which you had to drive to, and they had like food, they had like chicken on a stick, which was great, and yeah, it was open air though, so that was kind of weird. And that was in that like funny place where there's like nobody around, so it was kind of okay. Anyway, all the workers went there, so I actually met this DJ there who was like a real wanker. And he was like, you shouldn't be eating at this time of night because you'll get fat. And I was like, fuck you. He was huge as well. I was like, you can't say anything, boy. So yeah, we'll get on to the people a bit later. That's kind of your day. Then you get home, I mean, let's say on a weekday I would get home at like 6 or like 5:30 or something, but on a weekend I would get home at 8 in the morning and then get up again at 2 p.m. Like I honestly, I go to bed at like 2 a.m. now and I still can't get up until like 2 p.m. I don't know what's happened. I'm like an old woman. It really is bad. I don't know. I think some of it is like maybe you don't want to miss out, or like you're a bit more sprightly when you're younger, or I don't know, whether you just burn the alcohol off quicker so you're fine. I honestly don't get it, but whatever. In terms of Ayia Napa, that's a bit of a different place. It's a bit more like bougier than Malia, which is a bit like dusty kind of dusty like road, and it's like kind of like small, and Ayia Napa's a lot bigger. There's a lot more like family stuff going on. They've basically got the square, which is where like the strip where all of the clubs and bars are, and it's a square of, not a complete square, but like loads of streets that were in a square formation. And yeah, it was definitely bigger. It was more spread out, and you couldn't walk to the beach. I remember that being a big thing. We cried the first day we were there because we just felt, you basically get dumped into this like completely random place. You don't know anyone. It's like you don't have anything. You start from nothing. You're literally dumped in this room and then off you go out into the world. You don't have a job. You don't have any way of like making an income or anything. And it's kind of terrifying. It's just like, bye, off you go. And we didn't have a moped, and that was kind of bad because like it was also just, this place was so much bigger than Malia. Malia was like quite a close knit, tighter community, like you kind of knew everyone, whereas Ayia Napa was like probably 2 to 3 times the size, maybe bigger, and there were more people there in terms of like families going to the bars around as well, and it was just way more spread out, and it kind of felt way more overwhelming. So cried the first night we were there as well, but definitely not the worst day of my life. We went out the first night we were there. I don't know which one I preferred. I really don't. It was just, they're very different like vibes. I feel like I said, Malia was just so much like tighter knit community. Not that I like particularly loved any of the people there, but if I had to choose. Also, Malia was like my first love, you know, it was like my first one. And Ayia Napa, I had some bad experiences in. Not as bad as Did I Get Raped story, but still, like, I didn't enjoy it for various reasons. Number one, I did start working in this bar called Bedrock, and they didn't pay me as well as they did in Malia, so I was kind of expecting more pay, and they really fucked me over, or like everybody over with that, like half the pay for the same sales basically, and that was kind of shit. I was, you know, expecting a similar amount, and I also got spiked in that bar. There we go. I had some kind of stimulant put in my drink, I think, because I got really tachycardic and like really wired, and a bit of a weird thing to spike somebody with, but anyway, don't leave your drinks on the side. Also, yeah, I just didn't like it. So then I started working for this guy, and I went and did like basically door-to-door sales. I went, knocked on people's doors in hotels, which was kind of risky because I definitely wasn't supposed to be there, and knocked on people's doors and said, hi, do you want things? I won't tell you what. Do you want things? It wasn't like drugs, don't worry. Do you want like drink or whatever, like stuff like that? And some people would buy it, some people wouldn't, and actually I worked less hours. I earned bloody loads doing it, like sometimes 100 to 120 euros a night, which was a lot given that most people that worked in a bar earn 30 to 40 euros a night as a flat rate. And I, in my previous job in Malia, was earning 80 to 90. So this was like an upgrade. It was like 100 to 120 for way less hours as well. You know, like I would start at like 11 and I'd finish at like 2. So it was like 3 hours, and but I worked basically on my own, and I kept all of the profits, and I got to like socialize with people. I kind of liked it, actually. I kind of liked it. I went like door to door and I said, do you want any like whatever? And then they'd be like, yeah, come in. I'd have sometimes they'd like offer me a drink, and sometimes it would just be like, yeah, we want that, but then you can leave. And I was like, fine. And I never went in if I thought it was like a weird situation, and nothing bad ever happened to me, actually. It was all like really lovely, like groups of British people, and I met some really good people doing that. Actually, I had some really good times, but remember, they were only there for a week, so if you caught them like midweek and then you basically only saw them for like a few days and then they would leave. So I met this really cool group of guys who were like super chill, and I would like sit on their like balcony, which was kind of like a rooftop, and they would give me drinks, and that was quite nice. And they were like super chill, and they weren't like trying to have sex with me or whatever, which is always a good bonus. Like it's nice when you can just hang out with boys and they're not trying to have sex with you. And yeah, then I met these other people who were like super nice, and we partied with them as well. And yeah, I mean, there were not that many groups that I was like mega into, but there were like 2 or 3 that I quite liked. So I did that. I did work with some people doing that, but they didn't like how hard I worked. They kind of just wanted to like, I don't know, take home the money, and that was kind of it. But I was like, no, you have to actually, like, because everyone was like, how are you making so much money? And I was like, I don't know. I know when someone's going to buy something, and I know when they're not, and I move on if they're not. And I just kept going until I'd like sold enough, and then I called it a night, or like, you know, went and joined them on their night out or whatever, or drank with them for a bit and then went home. As a result, in Malia, I drank every night except one night, which was the only night I had off. Actually, I had 2 nights off my time in Malia. You work every day. I had 2 nights off. One of them was because I got really, really drunk and overslept. Woke up at 2 a.m. Went to we basically went to this like festival thing, and then started drinking really early, and then I basically slept and yeah, just didn't get up. And I went to my boss and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I actually liked my job. I was like, I don't want to lose it because I earn like really well there, and my boss isn't a complete wanker, and I quite liked the people that I worked with, like it wasn't awful. And yeah, so I wanted to go back there, and so he said, yeah, just come back tomorrow. And I was like, oh my fucking god, this is the best night of my life. I went and had the craziest party. I was already drunk, already dressed, so I just got up and I just carried on partying, and that was great. It was so great. I fucking loved that night. I don't remember what happened in particular, but I just remember feeling so happy that I hadn't been sacked, and because that's how easy it is to lose a job out there. You know, you don't turn up and then they're like, sorry, we've replaced you. Like, that is how easy it is. Now, good job I was good at my job, because my boss obviously was like, Dawn is not replaceable. And I just remember everyone being like, wow, you do work so hard and you do earn a lot. And I was like, yeah, I know, because I work hard. I'm a hard worker. And some people wanted to work with me because they thought that they would earn loads if they worked with me. The issue is, if I'm just dragging you around, right? So let's say I earn £80 if it's just me. If it's still basically just me, but you're there, like an extra person, I'm still doing all the work, we're not earning double as much. Like, you're not going to earn £80. We're going to earn half as much, or maybe like we'll earn £90 between us, and it'll be 45 each. So people didn't really get that they would actually have to work as hard as me to be earning the same amount. So when they realised that, they kind of like, I think they were less bothered about working with me, because they were like, oh well, she's just going to keep like going, and I have to then keep up with her, but they don't really want to work that hard, which is fine. But like, that was my jam. I was like, no, I've always worked really hard. So I didn't let it slip there. Anyway, the girl that I worked with in Malia, she was the same as me. She was like kind of half Greek, so she was a little bit different to the normal workers, who were just kind of there to party. And so we made a really good team. my boss fucking loved us. Like, he really did. Well, I'm saying this, I think he did. He loved her, and I think as a byproduct he loved me. We were like the favourites. So like, me not turning up for work one day, like, he was fine with it. And I'd already been there like, you know, a month and a half or something. I don't know how long it was. It was a fair amount of time. Anyway, the second night I had off was when Tom, oh my god, that's my current boyfriend's name, my ex-boyfriend, when he arrived. Maybe it was a month, actually. Not a week or two. I think it might have been a month. Yeah, because that would make sense, because I got that room with Chantel, and then we got a room together after the month. Fuck, it was a month. So that's actually quite a long time. Okay, I take it back. I was being a needy little bitch. So yeah, so the first night that he came, I had the night off, and then we went out, but I didn't drink that night. So when I was in Ayia Napa, I didn't drink that much, to be honest. I didn't drink every night because I was working. I wasn't working in a bar, so you know, I did drink most nights, but not every night at all, like, no way. And I was more like just doing my own thing, just sort of wandering about. We still went to the gym there, and we still did the same kind of routine, same shit, different day. It was, yeah, you'd go to the pool parties, maybe have a few drinks there, and yeah, it was like it was basically the same in both places. But in Malia, I drank every night. The issue with drinking every night, low quality alcohol, is that I started hallucinating. Now, they weren't like hallucinating during the day. It was like, okay, it wasn't hallucinating then, but it was like really bad, like dreams that felt like they were real. And in particular, I had a dream about that guy that said he was going to raping me. So that was kind of terrifying because it felt real as well, even though I knew it was a dream. But you would have these really realistic nightmares. That was kind of awful. That was the main side effect of the really bad alcohol. Not only that, did it burn your insides. I honestly don't know how. I didn't have some kind of stomach perforation. And it was so cheap. A litre, €8. I honestly don't get it. Like, what is that shit made out of? I think they used to have this stuff called raki as well, which is disgusting. Just never drink it. It might be good as like a funny one-off, a bit like absinthe, but just no. So that shit was horrendous, but that was like a typical Greek drink. I think they said it was made out of like olive branches or something. The alcohol was made out of something to do with olives. I don't know, but it was bad. Occasionally we went up into the mountains, like on our moped. We just went for a drive. We would go to a different beach sometimes, like a quieter one that was outside of the main areas, because you know, you just want to not be around people sometimes. You want to go and explore different places. We would go to water parks sometimes. Oh, sorry. What else did we do? Yeah, we went up into the mountains. We went cliff jumping one day, and that was it. That terrified me. I did it twice, actually. It was probably about 10 meters. It was terrifying, so scary. I think it was about 10 meters. It looked very high. I don't know how high it was. I still have a picture from that. We did have a video, but obviously I don't have that anymore. But anyway, that was so scary. Yeah, cliff diving. We didn't really do anything else apart from that. Like, we didn't really do any of the touristy stuff that was like, oh, let's go on a boat party. Like, we didn't do that because, like, you just wouldn't. That's mainly for tourists and stuff. What else? I went on what are they called? A bar crawl one night. Again, they were kind of like, if it wasn't a worker one, you kind of didn't really want to go with the tourists because they were just a different breed, like a different situation. They were out to like shag, and they were in their groups, you know, they all knew each other, and then like for you to go in as like a worker, it was kind of weird for you to be like, hello. Like, it's not that we thought we were like better than them or whatever. Maybe we did, actually. Maybe a lot of people did think that. They would be like, oh, you're not a worker. But it was, yeah, you wouldn't really like go out with, like, you would go out with people that weren't workers, like that were tourists, but you wouldn't go on a boat party or anything like that necessarily. Right, now we need to get on to the bad stuff. I'm afraid there's quite a lot of it. I did not expect this episode to be this long, but I'm kind of enjoying it. I have a lot of bad things to say. I feel like I've just explained it all in a fairly nice way so far, so it's all going well. I've been podcasting for so long that I really needed a drink, but also like I really needed a poo, so I had to go and poo. I had a frozen yogurt thing just a minute ago, so there we go, maybe that set me off. But the first thing, ironically, that I'd like to talk about, the bad, is constipation. Because if you are in somewhere that is boiling hot and you are not really eating much fibre, because you do get fruits and vegetables, but there is a lot of beige and you do probably lie around a lot, like, you don't really walk that much because it's so hot, and you lie next to the pool and stuff. And we did get exercise, but I remember my stomach being like, yes, I got a bit fatter, but the main issue was that my stomach got bigger because I was so full of poo. Also, you're just not drinking enough for how much you're sweating, and also water costs money. I know it costs money here, but you have to like go out and buy it, and like it's like a different kind of thing, you know. You have to go out and buy it, make sure you've got enough, and then so it's like constipation is a real issue. Secondly to that, I did get a UTI as well at one point. Went to the pharmacist. They give antibiotics over the counter over there, so you can just go in and be like, can I have some antibiotics for a UTI? They thought I had a STI because obviously it's Malia. So I was like, no, this is my boyfriend. I haven't had sex with anybody else. And then she gave me some cranberry tablets and some antibiotics, which I was too scared to take. So I took the cranberry tablets and they worked actually. So I think maybe it was just, it was a bit of like irritation of my bladder or something. But because you're just drinking every day. And then I started drinking cranberry juice with vodka. So I was getting my cranberry juice in and getting drunk at the same time. So that was my new drink. It did have a lot of sugar in it, but I thought it was probably a better drink, just, you know, sort of looking after myself, but also sort of not. Also, you end up eating at like crazy times in the morning. You know, you're eating at like 8 a.m. when realistically that would be your like midnight or whatever, if you were going to bed at a normal time. So you eat and then you go to sleep, and then like you're not hydrated enough, so then that food like just becomes more stodgy poo and you just get really, really constipated. So there are a lot of laxatives that are used and it was quite a constipated time. Weight gain is another one. For females in particular, I don't know why, but the women put on weight and the men lose weight. They just lose all their muscle. A lot of guys come out there like, you know, they do loads of training beforehand to try and get really hench, and then they just don't train as much when they're out there. They drink, they eat shit, and they come back like with no muscle. Like that is the thing. Whereas like it's just well known that women put on weight and the men lose all their muscle. Safety as a female. Well, I think we've already discovered that one, the haha I'm gonna rape you story. So I got kissed once, like without my consent. That was by like a customer in the bar that I worked in, and it was just like a quick peck, but also like I didn't want him to do it. I didn't have many people like touch me or anything. I didn't have any concerning moments, to be honest. I did have one guy that I got on the back of his like quad bike, and then he like drove me around and then was like, all right, come into my room then and have sex with me. And I was like, no, just because you drove me around doesn't mean I'm having sex with you. And he got really angry. So everybody does expect sex out there, like it is a big thing. I think my experience would have been very different and a lot worse, I would say, if I didn't go out there with a boyfriend, because I think people, when my boyfriend came out, it was like, okay, no one can like hit on Dawn or like try and get with her or anything like that. So everybody kind of left me alone, which I kind of liked, because otherwise as a female you were kind of like fresh meat for them. And it was a thing of like everyone, especially the guys, it was like, how many people can you sleep with? And there were STIs going around like mad, and everyone was sleeping with everyone, and everyone would then talk about it. So it's like, but then your like sexual ability is then passed around the group, and it's just like not a kind of environment that I wanted to be in. So I know a lot of people did leave because of the kind of environment that it was. It was very like laddish, sex, drink, like, you know, loads, and like I'm a big man, and like I have sex with everyone, and like, yeah, and I have a really big dick. And it really was, there were some people that weren't like that, but for the majority, I would say like 80% of people were probably like that. There were some drugs as well, but like I didn't get involved in that, but I think that was mainly like people took pills and stuff. I mean, I could barely like handle, I could only just handle drinking every night. So, and I was already like having weird dreams. So I think I was kind of lucky in a way that my boyfriend came out with me. I think if he didn't, I wouldn't have lasted that long, because I think the situation just made me really anxious with people being like, ooh, you slept with someone, ooh, I'm gonna rape you, ooh, I'm gonna like, oh, I don't know. And I think because I had a boyfriend, people just left me alone, and I quite liked that. So I do wonder if that would have been different if I didn't have a boyfriend. Probably. People hit on everybody, but I also feel like I am not one to shit where I eat, so I don't like sleep with people that I'm gonna see all the time, and it's gonna be really awkward, and but that would make me really uncomfortable. So that is a situation you really have to deal with, and people think that because you're there that you want to have sex with everyone too, so they're like, yeah, have sex with me, and you're like, no thanks. Also, I have a boyfriend, so drinking alcohol every day, not good for your health. It can't be. Like, it fucking can't be. It isn't. I don't know why I'm saying it can't be, like, oh, I'm not sure. No, it isn't. And I did feel like some very mild withdrawal symptoms after I left, like anxiety, but I think, I don't know, leaving a place that you've been for a long time can make you quite anxious. And I was a bit shaky, but I don't know, it didn't last very long. And obviously the hallucinations and stuff. I haven't got any like long-term issues from drinking that much alcohol. I think people that, it was like I wasn't getting like really drunk every night. I was getting moderately drunk, and then I would try and like not drink for as long as I can, and I would start at like 1am or something rather than starting before I went to work, for example. So I did try and reduce it, and then obviously for the second season I didn't drink that much really at all. You do have to work every day. That's quite hard, but it's sort of, you just go there expecting it, and also it is kind of a party. So and you can sleep all day if you want. I don't know how I didn't sleep all day, like how I made it. I really don't. I've said skin cancer. Hard to eat healthily. Like, you do have to go to the shop and buy loads of stuff if you want to eat healthily. Like, we did buy fruits and vegetables, but it can be really easy just to eat like beige or Subway or chicken nuggets or like something shit. So we did try and find some like healthier places. We did find this like chicken and rice shop. We found this really nice place, this like restaurant-y place that did a takeaway. They had like baked potato and chicken and salad, and it was really good. That was like proper nice Greek food. And yeah, and you could get it with something else. Was it chips or baked potato or something? You could like mix them. I tried to just go for the healthiest option I could most of the time. So yeah, I think the bosses can be quite scary. Like, there was a lot of talk about the Greek mafia taking people into the mountains and murdering them. I don't know if that was actually true. I never knew of anybody that was murdered, but that was always a fear. Oh, sorry. I would say because I was in a relationship, I did definitely skip on a lot of the negative aspects. I think, there was a lot of people sleeping with each other, and then talk of being like, oh, they've got an STI now. And there was a lot of STI talk, and some people did leave because of that, because people were spreading rumours that they had STIs, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But that was a big thing. Oh, this person's got herpes, and now you've got herpes too, and it would like really freak people out. So yeah, that wasn't a great time. And then like I remember just stupid things were being passed around, like, oh, if you have sex in a swimming pool you will get genital warts. If you have what was the other one? Oh, if you sit on a toilet seat you can get herpes. Like, these were the kind of myths that were really like freaking people out about STIs in this place. And it wasn't unheard of to probably get an STI. I don't know anybody that got one, like, that told me. But yeah, okay, let's move on to the people. I don't want to say everyone was a dick, but a lot of people were not my kind of person at all. Like, rape guy, obviously not my kind of person. And there were a lot of people. I think in Ayia Napa in particular, this was definitely the worst place. I think this is why I didn't like it as much, because you had to stay in like rooms that were bigger, like 6 people, and we wanted to stay in a room that was just me and my boyfriend, which we did in Malia. Like, it was much more common to have 2 people rooms, and although that's really good for like socializing, it's less good for like, you know, people steal your stuff and then deny it, and your other roommates would be like, yeah, they're definitely stealing your stuff. And then you would confront the person who's stealing your stuff, and they would be like, no, I'm not. And I'd be like, well, that person told me. And then they'd be like, no, I didn't. And it would just be like, you fucking did say that. But they didn't want to, like, then they lied about telling me that they were stealing. Anyway, it was really shit. Like, I also remember one night these 2 guys raided our room, and I was pretending to be asleep. I'd hidden the aircon remote because people stole. Like, stealing was a thing. It was like you were in a different country, and it was just like, yeah, you could run into. It was like you were in a different country. Yeah, you were. But it was like there were no rules. Like, you could just run into people's rooms and steal shit. So people were like running into people's rooms and like stealing things, like the aircon remote, which was a bloody commodity. I don't know why. Just provide 2. And aircon was like an extra charge, and it was like, for fuck's sake, like, I can't sleep without it. It's 40 degrees or whatever. And because you'd sleep at like midday as well, that's like the hottest time of the day, so it was hot. In the end, actually, we got a fan, and that was fine. Like, it was 15 euros, and it was just as good. Like, it just blew, and it was fine. It was lovely. So, cockroaches. Oh my god, I didn't talk about those. I haven't even written those down. They just pop up everywhere. They come in under the door frame, and they come around at night, and then they just be waiting for you when you get home. You'd be like, fuck off. So I did have a couple of encounters with them. I did then learn to block off the bottom of the door when I went out, so they couldn't get in and ruin my life, because they were disgusting. They were like this big, and I fucking hated them. They were like an inch long, if you can't see that, if you're just listening on the podcast. I definitely think the worst thing about these places was the people. The other workers. Like, I just think they were really awful. Like, one guy got, as a joke, he got a swastika tattoo on his ass. To be fair, a lot of people didn't think that was funny. But then he got it changed. You're going to know who I'm talking about now. He got it changed to a Battenberg, which was kind of cool. It was quite common to get drunk tattoos out there, to be fair. And they would tattoo you whilst you were drunk as well. They had no issues in doing so. I got one on my ankle. If you ever meet me, ask me, I'll show you it, if my ankles aren't too hairy. But yeah, I think just of all the situations I've explained, like, just the people, there were some very nice people, there were some very not nice people, and I think that definitely made the situation worse. You know, people that just didn't give a fuck. Like, they would lie, they would cheat, they would have sex with everyone, they would they were absolute wankers, and they were just absolute dicks, and I just couldn't cope with them. They thought they were like big and like fucking amazing and like the best thing since sliced bread, and I just thought, oh my god. I didn't hang out with them. Obviously I just didn't want to, and I have no regrets about that. Absolutely none. Like I said, I've seen none of the people since I left. I've seen none of them again. There were some people who, it's not as though because I didn't see them again, it's not because I think they're a bad person that I didn't see them again. It's just like, distance, or, I had my own life. I wasn't going there to like make friends. I was going there for like the lifestyle. But yeah, I just don't like people that lie and steal. So that was my biggest thing. I didn't have any of that really in Malia, but in Ayia Napa it was quite bad, and that's probably what ruined it for me. But in Malia, like I said, I just wasn't involved in the like, haha, let's have sex with like everyone, and and like, let's have an orgy, and they always had like really, like, the more violent the sex, apparently the better it was. Like, all the boys would just be walking down the street with scratches down their back. Like, it was the best thing ever. I feel like you don't have to have drawn blood to be like have amazing sex. But that was the thing. In these places, it was like a kind of war mark. Like, I have had sex and everybody now knows about it. And the girls, the more they scratched, the better they were, apparently. Everyone would be like, oh my gosh, she's so rough. And like, it was just gross. And I'm not like looking down on these people, but it's like, it was just so obnoxious. Like, fuck's sake. You don't need to literally, people would have scratches all over them. Like, it was disgusting. As in, it looked like they'd like chastised themselves, you know, with that belt where they like, whatever, like that kind of whip that you whip yourself with. Now, apparently that's a hallmark of great sex, or I don't think it is, but I think they kind of made out as though it was, and then everyone wanted the scratches so that everybody knew they'd had sex, basically, and how promiscuous they were. And it was those kind of people that I was just really not into, like the kind of people that were like, I'm like, fine, go and do your thing, go and have sex, whatever. But yeah, anyway, I've said enough, I feel like I could say more, but it would just be repeating it. You've heard enough. They just weren't my people at all. And some of them were nice. Some of them were nice people, but still doesn't necessarily mean they were my people, you know? I think, like I said, if my boyfriend hadn't have come out, I think I would not have lasted that long. Although I am a bit of a martyr, so I probably would have done, but I would have struggled. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed hearing my escapades. Not as exciting as if, like, I had been single, I feel. If I'd been single, I might not have revealed all of my sexual escapades, but I feel like they wouldn't have been good. Because the gold standard for sex out there was, like, the rougher, the better. Like, if it's not rough, then it's shit. Like, you have to have bled from somewhere. Vagina, anus, back, I don't know. Somewhere has to be bleeding for it to be good. And I just don't think that is a hallmark of good sex, but whatever. I don't know why. Like, it just seemed to be the thing. Ugh. To summarise, I don't like liars, cheats, stealers, and people whose sole goal in life is to sleep with as many people as possible, and they don't give a fuck about anyone else in this world. So there we go. No, I had a good time. I earned some money over the summer, and I got to basically spend time in a different country. It was a really good experience, just in terms of like learning how to be a fucking human and what I do like and what I don't like. And I met lots of people. Some good, some bad, and it was fun. You know, you did have like a good community, you did get to know people, and like I knew when I was in that first place in Malia, like there were some girls above me and they were like kind of funny. But yeah, like I'd talk to them and I'd go and see them and stuff, and we weren't like friends afterwards, but we were, you know, situational friends. Like we were okay there. And yeah, then we all moved into this like really cute like house together, and we had this like really crazy lady who rented it out to us, and we were all scared of her. But that place was actually a bit nicer. Like it was light, we had like a little room and we had a hob, and like we had no cooking facilities at the first place. So yeah, anyway, oh, what an experience, hey? I can't believe I did it twice. I could not have done it the third. I just couldn't. I was like done. I was like, no thanks. And I haven't been on one of those holidays since. Firstly, no one I know would ever want to go on one of those. Secondly, everyone that goes on those holidays is 18 or 19, and I'm not. And I'm not sure I want to hang out with 18-year-olds. And also, I just think I just can't handle it anymore. I don't think I can handle these crazy, like, 10-hour party sessions and staying up and then getting up 6 hours later and doing it all again. Like, I really don't think I can do it. Oh, anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. I've wanted to share that story for a little while. I don't know if it's going to be interesting, but I think it is, because I don't think many people do it, and I don't think many people know people that have done it, maybe. I don't know anybody else that's done it that I know of, but then I know a lot of doctors, so I know almost no doctors that would do that. So, yeah, anyway, thanks for listening. If you guys liked it, please give it a like. If you want to follow it, then follow it. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. I don't know why I need to tell you to do all this stuff, but apparently that's the thing to do. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. Don't be offended by anything I've said, you know, whatever. And I upload every Monday and Thursdays. It's been a long episode, fuck me. 1 hour and 30 minutes, I'm kind of dying. I upload every Monday and Thursdays, and subscribe to like get the notifications. Be great if you rated it if you're listening on the go. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you can listen on the go anywhere you stream podcasts. Backseat Positivity, just type it in and it'll come up. Miracles. If you're listening on the podcast and you want to go look on YouTube, you just want to look at me, hi, then type in @DawnBarlow, or you could probably type in Backseat Positivity into YouTube because the podcast is also on YouTube. Anyway, bye guys, I'm fucking dying now. This is a long sesh for me. Bye.